Welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast, featuring Dave Cariello, Andrew Juge, Ralph Malbrough, and when he decides to show up, Kevin Held. We are the perfect blend of Saints sincerity and stupidity.
Wait, did you do it during the playoff run?
I did. I ate Popeyes, but I didn't do red beans and rice.
God, then the Seattle loss is on you. You didn't eat the beans?
What did you do, mashed potatoes?
Oh, my God.
I did mashed potatoes.
All this time, it was Ralph's fault. We lost.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Ingram fumbling or Colston throwing a backwards pass. It was me. It was my crippled ass.
And now, here's your host, Ralph Malbrough.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Saints Happy Hour podcast. Monday edition. The Saints are 7-1. The live stream, fingers crossed, is working. No buffering from says Kenneth. We are ready to go. But Kevin,
you just jinxed us. It's over.
It's over. But Kevin, before we get to the party of the live stream and the Saints being 7-1, you have exciting news about a fantastic new sponsor of the show. Tell the people about manscaping.com.
No, it's not manscaping.com. It's Manscaped. It's Manscaped. Support for this illustrious audio, glistening quality of audio and sports chicanery comes courtesy of Manscaped. They are number one in men's below-the-belt grooming. That's pretty clever. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Yeah, that's nice, like the Dr. Seuss of balls. All right, talking points. I will not read this part here because it says do not read, but let me regale you of a frightening time in young single Kevin's life when I was living alone in New Orleans and I was trying to groom myself. I decided to take out a pair of scissors once because
with blood.
Oh yeah, it is, because my trimmer wasn't working. I needed to charge it, so I was like, well, screw it. Because I'm a man, I had zero patience to wait for something to charge and thought
you had tremors while using your trimmer?
That is the worst
idea. No, I was using scissors.
Yes.
So
yes, it's horrible, this idea.
Yes, it was, because I really wanted to get things nice and close. So instead, what ended up happening was took off a little bit of skin with the scissors. Not so with Manscaped. You ain't got to worry about that. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. Their Lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology, so this trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. You know how women don't like the word moist? I think guys don't like the word snag in the same capacity there. So manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. Thank God, because, my dangling ball bag can't take much more of it.
No. And
don't use the same trimmer. Don't use the same trimmer on your face as you would your balls. That's just nasty. Seriously, you cannot use enough rubbing alcohol to clean that trimmer off. That's why you need Manscaped. They also have Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. And you already put deodorant on your armpits. Why would you not put deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? I mean, that's a little presumptuous of Manscaped to say that our balls are the smelliest part, but, what have you. You can get 20% off.
Fact check is accurate.
Oh, wait, your balls are smelly?
Yes.
I mean, I live in New Orleans. It's 100 degrees 9 months out of the year.
Touché, yes. I forgot. Yes, forgive me.
Also, hi, Mom.
Popping a Blue Chew and manscaping is probably a bad idea, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, I mean, it's your balls. So,
I just think of all the people that are listening to this podcast for like the second time because Andrew broke the Drew Brees is going to start on Sunday news, and they're like, "This podcast sounds pretty good. It's good Saints news. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to give it another listen on the Big Show on Monday." First 8 minutes is nothing but ball talk.
This is one hell of an ad.
It is.
Yes, it is. So
they are getting their money's worth.
20% off and free shipping with the code armchair at manscaped.com. Always use the right tools for the job. Your balls will thank you. Really, I mean, they should have redone the tools for your Jules gimmick. All right, so call to action. I'll repeat myself because we're men. We need things to be repeated. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code armchair at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code armchair. Ladies, I'm maybe you could use this too. I mean, actually, you know what? If one of you wants to invent Womanscaped, hell, we'll plug that shit too. We are open to taking money for promoting whatever. So, ladies, invent Womanscaped and we'll promote it.
Or buy it for your man. Buy it for your mans for Christmas.
There you go. Manscaped.com, code armchair. Back to you, Ralph.
No, I was thinking we would just spend the whole podcast talking about.
I think so too. It would be on brand. On brand. The only thing that would be more on brand for us is if that ad that Kevin just sauntered through was buffering every 6 seconds. So, the Saints actually had a game.
I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
And they won comfortably, Dave, 31-9. My mother said the crowd was electric. It was a great atmosphere. She said it might have been the best atmosphere of the year so far for a Saints game.
Dave, do you agree with that?
I don't know. I didn't really notice that. I mean, I remember the Houston game being pretty wild. Just I guess maybe because just the ending, and because it was close. I mean, the first half of this game was close. I mean, it was potentially the Cardinals could have made some moves and done something and taken the lead, but obviously in the second half, Saints pulled away and never looked back.
I gotta hand it to Ralph. The Saints are 7-1. They're halfway to his 14-2.
I know.
And Teddy Bridgewater started 5 of those games.
I mean, does that mean is Peyton up for Coach of the Year for this?
He's got to be the front runner for Coach of the Year.
I don't know. I feel like when you're established, like Nagy won last year, like I feel like if you're established, you have to do something crazy. Now, Teddy Bridgewater being the starter for 5 games might be enough to put him in the mix, but like when the Patriots are awesome, like no one ever considers.
I think San Francisco going from being awful to like 12-4, that guy will win it. But
yeah.
Kevin, I have to say, and this I'm going to ask you this question because you're the right guy for it. Cliff Kingsbury, he looks like a douchebag when he does not wear his sunglasses, and I irrationally was just hating on him for no reason, and I've never even thought about him until Sunday, but I just wanted to punch that dude in the face during the game. Like, I don't know why.
How could you say that about a former practice squad Saints QB?
I want to. He looked like the kind of youth minister of my childhood that I just wanted to push off a bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Youth minister you wanted to push off a bridge. Okay.
So I mean, but like you disagree?
I've
like on
some youth ministers in my time that they're I'm not going to say it's completely warranted, but I understand.
But I mean, do you think he rates high on the douchebag looking coaches or no?
Yeah. I mean, don't ask me for a full-on ranking because, I mean, all I can think of right now, I can think of Cliff Kingsbury. I wanted to call him Kingsbury.
Pete Carroll #1, right?
But he's not like a douchebag. Like he's
not?
No, he's not a douchebag. He's a fucking like.
He thinks 9/11 was an inside job.
Well, no, I know that, and I think he said something that was very anti-vaxxer-ish.
That's like douche canoe 101.
Yeah, but that's like, see, I think douchebag is different. I think once you get out of your 30s, like, or past your mid 30s, like douchebag, like there has to be a term for for somebody in their mid-late 40s or 50s who just thinks a lot of wrong, stupid shit.
Kevin, my name is
yeah,
Ralph. You
douchebag.
can address me as such when you talk about me.
Actually, I mean, the joke I was going to say was Wasp eventually, but you know.
No, I mean, I wanted to punch Kingsbury in the face, but Andrew, as for the game, before we get to that,
these are the feelings I don't get because I'm at the game, so I don't get to look at Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, I had Pete Carroll would be up there. Mike Smith was the number one douche canoe for me because he looked like Anderson Cooper if Anderson Cooper was at fat camp and needed to lose
he wore
60
Tevas and socks in his office.
So Andrew, you actually broke the news that Drew Brees was starting. No one will give you fucking credit for it, and they would have banged on you in this podcast. They'd have banged on us all weekend if you'd have got it wrong.
Oh yeah, they would have
Teddy
been ready to
Bridgewater was.
pounce if I was wrong. That's for sure. Yeah.
They would have banged you so hard, Andrew.
But the thing is, Andrew, I feel like your
At least that
ledger
would have been manscaped.
because I feel like your ledger goes back to zero because you said all offseason Latavius Murray was going to be a bust, and that's 2 weeks in a row that he's been really good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to even the playing field here. Yeah, I'm just trying to get back to zero. So hopefully that makes up for my disastrous prediction on Latavius Murray. What more can you say about that guy? I mean, Alvin Kamara goes down, and he had 100 yards rushing, over 50 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. He looked like Deuce McAllister in his prime in that game.
He doesn't run like. I mean, his style of running is different. I mean,
no, but I mean, if you look at the stat line, like that was what Deuce was doing.
That was a Deuce McAllister versus Tampa Bay game under Hazlitt, where the Saints are just like, okay, Tampa, you're going to play cover 2. We're going to run Deuce 30 times for 4 yards.
And we might throw to him 9 times, too.
Yeah.
Well, not that I'm not Latavius Murray's biggest fan, and not that I didn't know that he was good and that he was going to be good, weeks and weeks ago. But I mean, he did some of that yardage. He got a big chunk of that yardage late in the game that helped pad that stat line. But again, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He's awesome, and he makes us forget that Alvin Kamara was even on this team.
Kevin, how spectacular is this team when Dave mentions at the top that they can fart around for a half and it didn't even matter? I mean, they basically, the end of the half was a clusterfuck. We'll get to that in a second. They had an interception. Lutz misses
second
a field
week in
goal.
a row, right?
Yeah. So, how?
No, I'm thinking of the Jags game. The Jags game was when they were awful in the first half.
Yeah. But I mean, Kevin, halfway through the year, they're at the exact same point they were last year, 7-1, 7-1. Do you feel better about this team than you did last year at this point?
Man. Now you're talking just the year.
Yeah, at this point last year, were you feeling better about the Saints than you are now?
I'm going to say yes, because the Saints all last year seemed like they. Wait, what? Am I doing what?
Nothing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, the Saints seemed like they were on the vengeance tour for the Minnesota game, and they were just blasting through everybody. So I don't know, just the momentum and just the attitude. Whereas this year, okay, this is weird maybe to say, but the Brees injury, I think gave me a ton of pause, and it's Bridgewater went 5-0, and it's amazing. And I feel if he decides to hang around, he's the guy. But Brees comes back, and now it's I'm somehow more worried about Drew Brees than I would be had he been playing the entire year.
So you still have a little bit of angst over the thumb, so you're not as confident. I like this
Yeah.
question. So Dave, how do you feel about the Saints right about now?
I mean, I like this team better just because we don't know what the future is. And right now, they've only got one loss. They could potentially, I'm not saying they will, but I mean, they could go 15-1. They could go 14-2 like you predicted. And either one of those would be the greatest seasons in Saints history as far as win-loss is concerned. So they've got that going for them. There is, offensive line is playing well. I think that's crucially important. I think that's really overlooked. But I mean, as long as your offensive line is playing well, then Drew's going to play well or be able to play well. And Armstead, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. Happy to have him. Happy that he's playing. He's healthy. Keep it that way. But no, and well, I mean, Kevin said last year he felt like it was a revenge tour for the Minnesota game. Well, then that would make this the revenge tour for the no call, which was more egregious and way more angering.
Oh no, and I agree. I agree with that. I guess like the Brees injury, just I don't know. Like right now, the Brees injury still like clouds. It just there's a cloud hanging over it for me. Like if in 2 or 3 weeks Brees is fine, then I would
feel better.
Be more like, yeah, I'd be more likely to change my answer in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Andrew.
And I think Brees is fine. I wish he would like stop going around and high-fiving everybody and smacking them on the helmet with his throwing hand. Like I don't understand, but just whatever. But I mean, I would say you could argue, especially based on fans cheering Teddy's name in the Superdome yesterday. I mean, you could argue that Teddy coming in and winning 5 games makes it even more special, more magical, whatever.
Andrew, what was a worse decision? Kevin trying to trim his nuts with a pair of scissors, or Cliff Kingsbury deciding on 4th and 1 from his own 29 to run the ball straight into the Saints defense, which is second against the run in the NFL?
Second against the run in the NFL, and like his running back that he decided to run it with on 4th and 1 had 7 carries for 8 yards. So I think that qualifies as awful coaching.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes, it's horrible, this idea.
I mean, you talked about it, but I looked up the stats today. This run defense, it's not quite as good as the 1991 Saints Dome Patrol. That run defense gave up 73 yards on the ground. This gives up 85, and that defense gave up 3.6 yards a carry. This is 3.8, but this run defense is it's the best I've seen in a generation. Like even the good Hazlitt defense, Andrew, of 2000, like they didn't stop the run like this. And even last year, I don't think the Saints they didn't stop the run like this. It feels like.
I mean, I just feel like the way the NFL is now with all the passing yards per carry is way up. Giving up 3.8 yards per carry is like in the early 90s is like giving up 2.8 yards per carry in 1991 or whatever it was. So, yeah, I mean, I think if they're giving up that little, it's you can't compare the yards per carry to the 90s because teams they run the ball way more efficiently because people are so terrified of the pass and they're always in nickel sets and whatever. So, but look. Blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? Bottom line, 7-1. Brees is back. Really the only threats, at least right now, are the 49ers and the Packers, and they don't really scare me. And this Saints team is ridiculous. We're going to the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl or bust. Like, it's back. Brees is back. Clearly his thumb is fine. He comes back, first game back, and looks like Drew. Played great. Seriously, like I'm so excited for the season. Like in LSU is ridiculous. They're about to play Alabama. LSU is just put number 1 over Alabama. We're going to get 2 championships this year in Louisiana. Book it.
Like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
I mean, but
Unfortunately, my green wave have cooled off a little bit.
Yes, they have.
A little bit. They
I
made a
wish they were
charge
still
though.
running
Give
What
them
did I
that,
tell
Dave.
you
They were
about
getting-
Tulane, Ralph? What did I tell you?
You told me. Hey, I gotta say, man, Rutgers totally failed me this weekend. I was on a
It's
hot
over.
streak. I was on
It was a good
heater.
run.
My
was a good
kid's
run.
college fun is goodbye. Hugh Freeze and prostitute coach, he let me down against Rutgers. They lost straight up. So I just look
So do
at
you
this.
give up? Are they dead to you now, or are you going to go back to the well?
No, I'm gonna hop right back on the Rutgers train. I'm a bet against them when they face Illinois. I'm gonna lay the
Yeah,
18.
because Illinois is kind of hot. They've won 2 games in a row.
They were resurgent under Black Santa, aka Lovey Smith. So Kevin, the Saints they've won without Kamara. They've won without Jared Cook.
They've won without Brees.
By the way, Kevin, of the most humiliating things in your life, which there are many, is losing to the fantasy football team that spent $182 in our auction draft on Jared Cook. Is losing to that football team, is it in the top 5 humiliations of your life?
I'm going to say just outside the top 5, like a 6 or 7 for sure.
When you realized I had
having that
Tevin
girl in your
Coleman,
house,
were you like,
where does that
fuck?
fall?
No one cares about it but me. I am so proud of myself for winning a game after bidding $182 on Jared Cook. I don't care.
Like it was looking okay for me at one point, and then I checked the score at the end at Sunday night, right when I was about to turn in, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, I lost? Oh, okay. And then I looked at the team, and I was like, wait a minute, is that fucking Ralph? And then I looked, and I was like, son of a bitch, that was fucking Ralph.
No one cares except for me.
Oh, me too.
But here's the thing. Like, and I'm going to start with Kevin, but I want everybody to answer this. This offense, they put up 500 yards, and I know Arizona is a trash pile on defense, even though they have Patrick Peterson back. They were giving up almost 400 yards and 28 points. So, Arizona isn't great defense. But, Kevin, do you think off of what the Saints...
They're not a great defense. That's really putting it mildly, Ralph.
Mildly. They're not great. They're not even average. But off of what we saw, off of what the Saints saw yesterday, Kevin, do you think they are going to be more or less inclined to do a little Mickey Loomising and do what you hate and trade away future draft picks to get a receiver before 4 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, I can't see that happening. I mean, if they weren't willing to do that to get now I can't remember the guy, Emmanuel Sanders, or one of the other defensive players that came out on the block. I can't. I don't see him doing it.
Dave, do you think we're
if you're 7-1 without Drew Brees, what does this roster? What could they possibly need? Like, I hear you. I would hear someone that says, no, they need a receiver. I understand that. But we just saw Brees come back, and Austin Carr caught a pass. I mean, I'm just going to put that out there.
I mean, it is kind of breaking news. I mean, he got how many? Did he catch a couple of passes yesterday? I think he did.
Just one. Just one. One is all you need.
Let's not get greedy, Ralph.
Do you think Little Jordan would be in contention for the Rookie of the Year, Dave, if Drew Brees had been playing the last 5 weeks?
I definitely think that Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater having to come in, Teddy just doesn't have the rapport with Lil Jordan that I know Brees does, and the timing was off, and I think it was really just the worst worst case scenario for Lil Jordan was
either that or Brees was like, "Hey, I'll come back from my injury, but get that guy the fuck off my team."
Wait, but seriously though, I'll say this: what I noticed yesterday in yesterday's game that we've been missing, and this is I'm dead serious. We did get an extra receiver. Now that Brees is back, that lets Peyton use Taysom a little bit more than he was using him before. And I mean, you saw Taysom caught 2 Austin Carr passes. He caught 2 of them, and both of them were pretty big plays and pretty big gains. So don't forget that too. That you can kind of add Taysom in there as a weapon now again.
Yeah, that was the argument today. I noticed that the people who hated Teddy Bridgewater and they were just seething and they just wanted to rip him, but they couldn't the last 5 weeks because the Saints were winning and he was getting better each week. They went from hating on Teddy Bridgewater to like, Saints got to trade him at the deadline, man. Get something for him. He's not going to be here next year. And the whole argument, you can't trade Bridgewater, right, Andrew? You can't trade him because if you trade him, you can't. Sean Payton can't have fun with Taysom Hill.
Yeah, and Taysom Hill is, I think, Brees being healthy is actually almost like a trade because then you acquire Taysom Hill's availability in the offense. So, that will help. Hey, real quick, I know our friend of the show, Jim Gleason, is listening, and he sent me something on Facebook today, and I told him I would read it because I thought it was awesome. But his case is that the Saints are the best team in the NFL, and this is what he said. After 8 weeks, the Patriots are undefeated, but their opponents have a combined record of 13-36. The only other undefeated team, the 49ers, have won games against a combined 16-35. Meanwhile, the Saints have had Teddy Bridgewater as their quarterback. Their opponents are 31-28. They clearly have better competition, and the only loss came when they, A, were robbed of a touchdown by the ref's whistle, and B, had their starting quarterback knocked out of the game because of an injury. In his absence, they maintained a dominance with the backup quarterback and won 5 straight. So anyway, he says they are the best team in the NFL, and I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe the best team in the NFC. I don't know about the Patriots, man. I mean,
they haven't played anybody. How can you say that?
I know, but they're the fucking Patriots.
The Patriots, man, the Patriots are playing a D3 schedule. Like, could they play a quarterback in the top half of the league?
WNL. It's like when WNL, when I was playing tennis at WNL and we were playing Bridgewater and Hampton Sydney. That's who the Patriots are playing.
Yeah, exactly.
You
tell them, Juge. Just like those guys.
Millsaps.
Jude, you have never sounded more like a preppy white dude when you just listed off those 4 schools.
Sewanee. Davidson.
I imagine Jude with an ascot and like a pipe.
Stetson? Did you play Stetson?
Yes, we did. I won a lot of I won a lot of matches against those shitheads.
Fucking tennis trash talk.
Pay that man his money.
Not that it goes. I just wanted to play it. But as the Saints are at the halfway point of the year, and we haven't even mentioned about how trash the NFC South is, specifically.
28-3. Bryant knocks it through. Arthur Blank loving it. Up by 25.
Now we're only halfway through the year. But good Lord, this season has been fun. I mean, I can't remember a more just fun season in the fun games. The Seattle game when Teddy started. I mean, this season to me, Kevin, is as fun as 2006, where it's just this holy shit of weirdness. And they're winning, and it's got odd storylines, and it's kind of unexpected, and it's just been fun with the Saints. But the fact that the NFC South is a dumpster fire makes it even better when you combine Atlanta being 1-7. I'm hard pressed to find a more enjoyable first half of the year in Saints history. I mean, I know they were undefeated in 2009, but Atlanta wasn't a dumpster fire. This has been spectacular.
Yeah, it has, and I'm enjoying that's the extra great thing about this season. Like, again, if you were going to say that you love this season right now more than last season, you would have to point out the fact that the Atlanta Falcons are the mirror image of the Saints. Like, the coach is out of his depth, doesn't seem to know what he's doing. Has basically been sitting on the hot seat so long. The seat, it's just he's sitting on embers at this point. Arthur Blank Arthur Blank doesn't know what he's going to do.
I hate watch Dan Quinn today, his press conference. I won't lie. It was fantastic. Great. The man looks defeated.
Is it even hate watching at this point, or is it just like jubilation?
It's jubilation.
It's morbid curiosity.
I was watching it in my seat at work, just bouncing. It was so great. It was like LSD. It was phenomenal. He's so defeated. He's so sad. It's so great.
I mean, that's great. It's great shit. It's absolute great shit to watch a grown man like that be like he has no clue. He knows he's fucked. He knows he's fucked, but he has no idea
how to fix it.
How to get out of it. Like
their defense is terrible. Like, I don't know. People probably follow Brian Baldinger on Twitter, and he just breaks down like video of teams, and he likes the Saints, and he broke down their offensive line from yesterday. But the Atlanta Falcons, they make so many mental mistakes on defense. It just drives poor Brian Baldinger crazy, and his crooked finger is like quivering while he's doing the video. It's just great stuff to watch. I can't recommend it enough. Like, go in the Baldinger's feed, and you'll just scroll through it. You'll find like 4 or 5 of them where he's just like, "What are you doing, Atlanta? This is so simple, and these coverages are just falling apart. What the fuck are you doing?" And it's just so great. Andrew, I know it's only been a couple of weeks. PJ Williams has been suspended, but is he going to get his job back from Gardner Johnson when he comes back against Atlanta?
No, PJ's gonna have to stay in the parking lot. No, I don't think so. I mean, when you have a rookie that steps in for a guy that frankly has kind of been up and down during his career, and nothing against PJ Williams, he's actually had a good season and I like the player, but he's in a contract year and you've got a rookie that's playing his ass off and it looks awesome. Like, how could you go back to the vet? I mean, I'm glad PJ's on the team and I'm glad he's coming back because, there's a good chance we'll need him at some point, but there's no way you take him out of the lineup right now. CJ's got to stay in there.
He looked awesome yesterday. That tackle in the open field, like on that screen pass or whatever. I mean, he's sick. He's like becoming one of my favorite players.
He is a shit talker too, man. Like, he was taunting Tariq Cohen last week. Yesterday, he gave up a completion to Larry Fitzgerald and was like clapping. He's a weird dude, but since everyone hates the Saints already, Kevin, because of Sean Payton, Bountygate, Vicodin, all that, like Gardner Johnson, he fits in perfect with the Saints' arrogance, does he not?
Oh, absolutely. But it's not. Here's the thing: it's not even like. I mean, does he say anything at the post game or like locker room things that are just like true dickhead statements?
No,
I mean, is he doing that or is he just playing around?
I think he's just,
because like if he's just clowning around and like fucking with the guy who couldn't ride a roller coaster last week during the Bears game. I mean, that's one thing. Like, that's in the game, heat of the moment in the game, getting inside the guy's head and just, obliterating the motherfucker. But I don't
kinda
know.
Need, no, I mean, but Andrew, you kind of I love that because I feel like at defensive back, you have to be just an arrogant son of a bitch because they're going to throw at you and they're going to beat you sometimes and you have to put it behind you. And I would rather a dude with oversized confidence than a guy who's quiet and not very assertive. Like, I think you need that at corner, especially in 2019 where teams are throwing 50 times a game.
You have to have blind confidence in sports in general. And I think it's just in the NFL, it's on steroids. You know, there is just no second or time to second guess yourself, have any self doubt. You just got to go out there and do it. And especially on the defensive side of the ball, where it's all about emotion, passion, committing yourself to putting your body on the line, physically tackling, whatever. So he's got that it factor. And you see it in his eyes, you see it in his body language. And the Saints need more guys on their defense like that, not less.
Dave, I'm going to throw out a statement that I thought
All right,
of it as
hold on. Can we just say Michael Thomas for MVP? Can we just get
No, I was going to say, I thought I had a great idea for a unique column for Channel 4 this week. I'm probably still going to write it because it's a good idea. But Michael Thomas, like, I think there's a because with Mahomes hurt, and even though the Patriots are winning, like Brady's not really great. In fact, Teddy Bridgewater was higher rated than him at quarterback. So there's a path for Michael Thomas to MVP, Dave. But when me and Andrew were texting back and forth today, we were trying to figure out what he needed to do, and I figured out. I think for Michael Thomas to be MVP at wide receiver, he needs to break the receptions record. He needs to get 146 receptions. He needs 1,800 yards receiving. He needs 10 plus touchdowns. He needs a huge game to beat the undefeated San Francisco 49ers, and the Saints need to be 14-2. But if that all happened,
which is a lot to happen.
Which is a lot because it's a wide receiver, right? And the MVP is mostly a quarterback award. But if Michael Thomas did most of the things I just listed, or 4 to 5, could he be MVP?
Yeah. You mean like, could he? Not should he be MVP? Could he be MVP?
Well, he should, but could he be? I think they're unfair to the wide receiver, but do you think he could be?
That's why I wanted to clarify your question. I mean, we don't have anybody, Mahomes was injured. I mean, we don't have anybody at quarterback who's playing amazing.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but Aaron, they have a good running back now, and you just said in the chat, and Green, so they'll cool down. And
I mean, like if Green Bay goes 15-1 or 14-2, then
Rodgers is getting it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Rodgers is getting it when Brees had the greatest season of all time. So you think they're going to give it to Michael Thomas if Aaron Rodgers goes 15-1?
Yeah, they love them some Rodgers. So I mean, but it helps. I mean, again, unless like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, unless they really put up crazy numbers or go 14-2 or whatever.
There's never been a receiver MVP. Is that correct?
I think Jerry Rice won it one year. Jerry Rice won it. Somebody look that up in the chat room real quick.
I'll look it up.
I know running backs have won it.
Running backs have won it. Adrian Peterson won it. Kevin's fave.
In fact, that's probably the last non-QB, right?
Probably. Yeah, and all it took was for him to break the rushing record.
Oh, God, I forgot for a second that Matt Ryan won MVP.
I'm looking at the same list. Adrian Peterson won it in 2012.
Sean Alexander in 2005. Marshall
LaDainian Tomlinson in 2006.
I mean,
it looks like no receiver has ever won it. Lawrence Taylor, 86.
Terrell Davis.
Jerry Rice, 87. Crowded Animal said in the chat. So,
Terrell Davis in 98.
87 was Elway.
Oh, 87
Terrell Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could get interesting because the thing is with the MVP is it's a narrative award, right? The media sort of goes whatever way they want to go, and they sort of construct the storyline. But I do think if Michael Thomas can have a couple of monster games in the spotlight on national TV or whenever and break the receiving record, I think he can finish top 3, and then it becomes, if the Saints are the number 1 seed in the NFC, the argument would be, well, they're the best team, we should give it to their best player. So I think it's possible. The thing is, I guess.
I mean, I think Mike Thomas has to have the most catches in a single season, and
the Saints have to be like 14-2 or 15.
Can he keep this ridiculous play? Do you think with Brees back,
he's not on pace to break the yardage record, right? I mean, his yardage isn't as up there.
No, because Megatron had 2,000 one year. But
yeah.
I guess my point is, obviously Brees over the last couple of years has been, especially take the Philadelphia playoff game where he just throws to Michael Thomas. But Teddy Bridgewater did it even to a larger extent than Brees ever have. With Brees back,
with the binge throwing.
Yeah, is the binge throwing, as you like to say, is it going to get ramped down? And if he gets ramped down, the record becomes less attainable.
Why would it get ramped down? Like, he just went up against Patrick Peterson, and they kept throwing.
You'll get Cooks back. You'll get Kamara back after the bye. I mean,
you mean, yeah? I mean, I guess I could see if there's just people are so terrified of him that it just opens up opportunities for other players. But that's when the Saints offense really gets rolling and they put up 500 yards on people. I feel like that's like a robbing Peter to pay Paul situation where it just wouldn't work out for teams. If you can't put too much.
But that's a different discussion. It would be great for the Saints as a team, but like his MVP candidacy, if he goes from on pace to catch 146 balls and break the record, and he gets 125, like that ain't gonna get you 125.
Did you see the catch he made with 2 guys on him with that Teddy Bridgewater threw 2 weeks ago? The 2 guys were on him there, and the Cardinals had Patrick Peterson shadowing him the whole game. He couldn't do anything. on his touchdown, Patrick Peterson bear hugged him, and Michael Thomas carried him into the end zone. You really and truly cannot guard Mike.
Big strong lad.
So it's not just a clever name.
It's not just. They don't pay him enough. Good Lord.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton and Michael Thomas somehow need raises.
It's crazy, and they're both the highest paid at their respective jobs. No, I'm sorry, Julio is now. Before we get to
what a fine investment, Atlanta.
They both got huge contracts this offseason, record-breaking deals, and it wasn't enough.
Oh, Atlanta, back to them. They are so fucked with their cap. It's just so glorious. Before we get to the questions, Dave, because the Saints aren't playing this week, we won't have game prediction. But I had a terrible week gambling, as Andrew referenced. I was 2-3-1, my first losing week in 4 weeks. So my kid will have to go to trucking school now. But if people wanted to gamble and win money, unlike I did this week, where should they go?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, a game is 10 times more exciting when I'm putting my money on it. Sometimes I have a gut feeling about a matchup, and sometimes I'm just betting on my team because they're my team. So regardless of whether you're betting for years or you're ready to play the game for the first time, MyBookie is your best bet this season. So if you're going to bet this season, do the smart thing and go to mybookie.ag, because no one gives you more ways to win. Between football season, World Series, the start of the NBA and the NHL seasons. In fact, I think yesterday was the one day of the year where all four sports
equinox,
have a game.
Baby.
Yeah, that was it yesterday. So between all that, it's time to get off of the sideline and get in on the action. If you really want to support your team this season, don't just sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with mybookie.ag. And I just realized I'm reading an older ad. But that's okay. So you can just but MyBookie is, they're going to match your money. If you join right now, MyBookie will double your first deposit. If you use promo code CHAIR to activate the offer, that's promo code CHAIR to double your cash. So visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
That was pretty good. Better than I would have done.
Well,
so
RSVP sent me that I was supposed to read.
So we'll get to the questions. Here's a question, Andrew. This is from Eric. What's more bizarre? The Cardinals felt the need to double cover a fullback running a fly route, or the fact that Brees decided to throw it to him anyway?
That's a great question. Yeah, that play was absurdly weird, and the end result was very deserved, an interception. But it's funny. I gave Brees an A- in the grades and thought he was great. I thought he had a great game. 79% completions. He was pushing the ball down the field, quick and decisive with his throws, took no sacks. I mean, he was Drew. He was great. But two things were just shocking. Amidst this great performance, that dog shit throw down the sideline to a double-covered fullback for a pick. Patrick Peterson was on Zach line somehow. What the hell was that? So he makes that throw, and then the clock management at the end of the first half. That was full. Drew Brees went full Les Miles there. That was awful.
No, Les Miles. If it was Les Miles, it would have worked out some kind of way. Like it would have been a clusterfuck, but
true.
The touchdown would have counted.
Yeah, they would have picked up the flag. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good question from Raymond, Kevin. What Netflix show in Ben & Jerry's flavor will Sean binge on, since this team seems like they could beat Atlanta if we started Sean Canefield and Todd Bowman in a 2-quarterback game plan?
Don't forget about candle. We need to know what kind of candle he uses, too. Remember, Peyton's a big fan of candles.
I mean,
oh, God.
We can get into it next week, too, but, I mean... Well, answer the question, Kevin. Go ahead.
So, what are we looking at? We're looking at Ben & Jerry's. Which? Repeat the question, please.
What Netflix show?
Which Ben & Jerry's flavor and which candle scent?
Yeah, would he binge on?
I'm gonna say Peyton's gonna binge on the fish food Ben & Jerry's flavor, because if he's still a Jimmy Buffett fan at his age, I'm willing to bet that Sean Payton would absolutely go listening to a fucking jam band play one goddamn song for 35 minutes. So I'll bet on that one.
If there's any fish fans in the chat, they're going to come with the knives for you, Held.
Whatever. Chomp on your patchouli sticks and leave me alone.
I'm pretty sure fish fans are nonviolent.
Right. Let's see. Netflix show. Which show is he going to binge watch? I can see him get caught up on some crime drama.
Has he already watched the 3rd season of Stranger Things?
I have not. I look forward.
Him. I want to know if he's watched it already.
Peyton? No. No, I think that came out when. Actually, you know what? That came out 4th of July, so I could see him doing that in between film sessions, getting ready for training camp. I could see him doing that. I was just going to say that he's probably watching some fucking crime show, and he's probably secretly into some crime show where like the people all have accents. So I'd say he's probably watching Broadchurch.
And
if you don't know what that, if you don't know what that is, that's perfectly fine. Let's see, candle scent. Let's take a look.
He's been known to like white cotton. He likes linen scents. What podcast? I was listening to him on a podcast or something where he was talking about this.
I think so. Here's the thing. I think he would love to go to. I don't think he's walking into the Yankee Candle shop and pulling off the tops of like 50 fucking jars. I think he probably went past that store and walked into like another store and just saw a candle for like a candy flavored smell. So I could see him being like, "Ooh, candy," and just
caramel apple.
Yeah, remember that story about him always going into Rob Ryan's candy stash?
There we go.
Do you think he fired Rob Ryan as he was digging into Rob Ryan's candy stash? He just like took a handful of M&Ms and was like, "Get out."
I think he waited a day to make sure he cleaned out his candy desk before he fired him.
Rob, we've cleared out your things. Well, what about my they're all gone.
By the way, just something random I'm thinking about. I feel like Rice Krispie treats are like the one, dessert candy, whatever, that you can make at home, and it's just as good as like the packaged one. Just a random thought there.
Thanks for that, Dave.
You're welcome.
How many Rice Krispie treats?
I just had 2.
Would you eat? How many Rice Krispie treats would you eat in a 30-minute period? How many would you be willing to eat to guarantee the Saints a Super Bowl win?
I just had 2. I just had 2 in 1 minute. So if we extrapolate that to 30 minutes, that's 60.
I mean, look, if we're talking just eat, like
Yeah,
I'm not.
you can't. That sounds like a sprint. You can't maintain that pace.
You can't maintain.
Like hell, I can't.
That's like running a 6-minute mile and being like, "Oh yeah, I can do that over 30."
Does he get the? Does he get the?
Rice Krispie treat eating
record? Somebody look that up.
All right,
I mean,
look it up,
do you get like water?
I'm not a big dessert guy, so like 3 Rice Krispie treats would be just awful for me. Like, I'm thinking like 5 is probably the max I could do in half an hour.
Man,
okay. 2 things. One, I have the answer for fastest Rice Krispie treat eating, but before I get to that, Halloween is like one of my favorite times of year because everybody posts their pictures of their kids in Halloween costumes.
No kidding. The dude that eats a pound of Sour Patch during the show every week loves Halloween.
So everybody takes a break from their political.
Guys, your blood likes candy. Go figure.
Everybody takes a break from their political shit on Facebook and posts cute pictures of their kids. So I like it for that. And then 2, yes, I like to steal my kids' candy. Well, this isn't an official record. It says Jonathan C. ate 3 Rice Krispie treats in 53.81 seconds. Whatever, dude. I can do that. I'm not impressed.
How big are they though? Are they like the wrapper size? Or are they like a piece of cake Rice Krispies? Like how big are they?
I don't know, but that website was not legit.
So Andrew, best worst Halloween candy. Go.
We go most popped rice cereal eaten in 1 minute. Let's see what
everyone knows. Candy corn is the best Halloween candy.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down with
I said it. I said it. Fight me.
I don't
gotta
know
mix it. Candy corn is awesome, but you gotta mix it with stuff. You gotta add.
The Greenbrier Pistols at dawn.
I mean, Reese's peanut butter cups, the minis, are awesome.
I mean,
I kind of have a thing for nerds. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, nerds. Well, you
now
are.
and later's are trash.
Now and later is trash. I'm with you.
But wait, here we go. Wisconsin students made an 11,000-pound Rice Krispie treat back in 2015.
Cool, thanks.
And it didn't help them beat Illinois.
Laffy Taffy, like that kind of stuff, I hate. I think it's trash.
Garbage.
Well,
it's like that person that posted on Facebook to tell people, like, they were like, we're a rich neighborhood. Don't hand out trash candy. And they had a list of all the candy they didn't want people to.
What was on the list?
What kind of candy do you think, Kevin, do you think Sean Payton, like, eats while he's
Twizzlers are lame. I agree with Fredo. Twizzlers are lame.
Like when he's like stress eating, like for a big game and he's watching film, like what kind of candy do you think Sean Payton is pounding? Like as he's like breaking down San Francisco 49er tape when they're undefeated.
I mean, is he saving the gum for game day?
Yeah, the gum is gum. Gum is not candy. Candy you swallow. Gum is not candy.
Okay. So if he's saving that for game day, then I'm saying it's got to be something chewy. Because I'm thinking that it's Airheads.
Airheads are delicious. Yeah, no. Alvin Kamara has turned me on that.
Mini Airheads are the bomb. Just so you know.
Yeah, if you are a parent that puts raisins in your Halloween like candy offering, if you have raisins in there
or loose change,
you have no soul.
I'm not saying I would call
soulless, soul-sucking individual.
I'm not saying I would call Child Protective Services on you. I'm just saying if somebody did, I wouldn't feel bad for you. Raisins, get the fuck out of here with that nonsense.
You know what else is bad? The random fucking candies that are wrapped in orange and brown. Those are bad.
Wait, what are those?
And then,
Poison. That's what those are.
Are you guys down with Heath? I'm down with Heath. Heath is underrated.
And then there's the ones that are like they're in like a. I think the candy themselves are brown, but like the wrapper is like clear with like yellow lettering. Those are gross as shit too.
Are you guys with me that Heath is grossly underrated?
I would say,
no?
Yeah. He's like the Wayne Martin of candies. Like, what would be like a candy that would be like Jarris Bird, where you were excited when somebody gave it to you, but like when you eat it, it always disappoints you?
Snickers. That's Snickers.
Snickers?
Snickers is the Jarris Bird. Like you always think Snickers is better than it should be, and you think it's amazing. You take a bite and you're like, it's kind of disappointing.
My wife will fight you over that, Juge. She loves Snickers. She'll destroy a bag of Snickers minis. Like it's unbelievable. So let's get to some more actual football questions. Kevin, how sad will you be if the Saints don't trade away draft picks by the deadline? Oh, and how happy will Kevin be? I should have asked that to somebody else, but
I'll be pleasantly surprised if they can avoid trading anything away. I'm usually more pleasantly surprised when it's draft time and they're not trading anything away. Like they're 7-1 right now. If they make a huge trade at 7-1, yeah, I don't know.
Here's a crazy thing. Ryan Pace, was like a Loomis understudy. He has taken the Loomis trade away draft assets to a level which I can't even fathom. The Bears do not have a first, third, or fourth round pick next year.
Well, it was totally worth it because Trubisky is their franchise quarterback. No?
The future.
Oh, that's not how it's working out? Oh.
This is from Mitch, Andrew.
Did you say Chase Daniel? Sorry, I think I misheard you.
Are you telling me Coach John Smoltz doesn't know what he's doing?
He does look like John Smoltz. Kevin, you always amaze me with like the random NFL like things and facts that Charles Nagy looks like John Smoltz. Just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Mitch asks, Andrew, Brees is 5 touchdowns behind Brady for the all-time record. Any chance he catches him in time to be the one to break Manning's record? What are the odds he ends up holding the record at the end of the season?
I think there's a strong chance. The Saints play Atlanta twice. I rest my case.
Oh my God. And let's see. Dave, how has Marcus Davenport been looking? You were at the game yesterday. That's from Torrey, sorry.
I was going to say, it sounds like a buddy of mine planted that question in there because he's been he's been high on Marcus Davenport. In fact, he thinks that Marcus Davenport is the next Reggie White. And and then I have to slap the shit out of him and tell him to shut the fuck up because he's a little ridiculous with that kind of talk. But he's playing. I mean, look, everybody on the. I don't think I would be fair to say a bad thing about anybody on the defensive line. I mean,
I don't think that it'd be fair to say anything bad about anyone on the defense. Period.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of the chat room. Defense?
I'm so proud of the chat right
Patrick
now.
Robinson.
He's injured. He's not even playing.
I'm so proud of the chat right now, guys. They have given up Saints talk, and they are just arguing about Halloween candy.
And who's older?
And this is our podcast. This is our audience. Oh, and by the way, guys, I got the alert from Andrew, not Juge, the Andrew at Armchair Media. We have 96.
The other lesser Andrew.
Yes. We have 96 people have RSVP'd for the podcast live show with the bird calls on December 14th. Go to the link at the show, RSVP, get your free T-shirt. If we can get over 100, Dave, don't we get a discount where we get some sort of we buy them from like in bulk from India instead of you having to do them by hand? If we can get over 100 orders and they're like a nickel a piece. So go and RSVP, people.
If more of you guys sign up, we can have the shirts made in a factory with child laborers that are 3 years old, in terrible condition. So please RSVP.
They get whipped to sleep and slashed with broken glass as pillows.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, we want you all here. And the thing is, you get the T-shirt and you get it personally handed to you by
my wife.
So go do it.
Or maybe my mom. Maybe we can recruit my mom.
My mom.
Man. So look, this wraps up the show. The Saints are on a bye this week, but we're not going to have any game predictions because they don't play anyone. But I want you guys to revisit your season prediction, and you can't change what you predicted to start the year, but I want you to say how confident you are that the Saints are going to reach your win total that you projected, either over it or not to it. Andrew, I'll start with you. How do you feel about your preseason prediction being right or wrong?
Well, first of all, I feel like at this point I have to predict them being 7-9 because picking them to lose every week has resulted in a win. I'm like on an amazing streak of doing this. Like, I can't believe I'm going to have to pick the Falcons to beat the Saints in New Orleans in 2 weeks, but here we are. I think, did I pick 11-5? I believe that's what I did. Yeah. So that would mean 4-4 the second half of the season, and they play Carolina twice. They play Atlanta twice. They play Tampa once more. So, yeah, I mean, the NFC South is not very good. The 49ers game obviously will be tough. Indianapolis is a decent team, but that's a game I think they should win. So, yeah, I mean, I think 11-5 feels really light at this point. Those first 4 games, we thought those would be tough with Brees, and they went 3-1 during that stretch. So, I mean, Jim Gleason said it, and I read that earlier on the show. I really feel like they're the best team in the league. I really believe that. And you say what you will about the Patriots, but I think your prediction might be spot on, Ralph. Like, I think there's a chance the Saints are going to be 14-1 and starting Bridgewater again in week 16 in a meaningless game.
I mean, I feel a lot better about 14-2 than I did when Brees was dropping a football in Los Angeles. I'll tell you that. But it's still a really hard get because I still think Green Bay and San Francisco, they play each other, and I still think 13-3 is going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. So I still think there's a decent shot that it's going to be like last year where the Saints are 13-2 and everything's wrapped up and they're starting Teddy Bridgewater. But it'll be the same thing as it was last year. They'll start him, but they won't have anybody good helping him out, and they'll lose, and they'll be 13-2, and I'll have to write one nice compliment to Les East. Dave, how do you feel about your prediction? Do you think it's still going to come true?
Was I 11-5 too?
Yeah, you were 11-5.
I thought he was. I thought you were 10-6, Dave.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think I was that bad. Yeah, no, I'm with Andrew. It's looking like it's not going to be close, and it looks like they may exceed that, which is great. But I just see a lot of breadsticks and never-ending pasta bowls in my future.
Well, look at the bright side. At least it's because you missed it going under, than rather.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. But I mean, realistically, like when you think about it, like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen to the Saints season? You lose Drew Brees, and we've done that. We've weathered that storm. We've came out on top, and that possibility no longer frightens me. At least not for this season. I'm not really worried anymore. Like it's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Right, like if it happened again, it's like we can beat the Falcons.
Yeah. So, I mean, really and truly, it's like we're playing with house money from this point on, and we can't lose. Kevin,
how do you feel about your prediction? What was your prediction, by the way?
I was hoping you could tell me. I have no idea.
I think it was 11. I think it was 11.
No, I think maybe
he didn't even make one because he probably wasn't
one of us was 10-6. It must have been Kevin.
Yeah, I think Kevin, you were 10-6.
Wait, I would have said 10-6. Oh shit.
Yeah, it seems so ridiculous now because they're so fucking awesome.
The wheel says 10-6.
Well, obviously, I'm not feeling confident because, I mean, it seems like they're going to cruise right by that.
Yeah. So, would it be worse for this team to lose Michael Thomas than it would be for them to lose Brees again?
I think it might.
It
might.
Wow.
I mean, because Michael Thomas is the best receiver in football, and his production didn't drop at all between Teddy Bridgewater and Brees, and I mean, we'll just have to see how health goes. I mean, that's just part of the deal. But hopefully the Saints are just having one of those years where they get good health, and we'll just have to see. But I think that's a valid point, Andrew. So look, guys, this podcast went extra long because we were breaking down important Saints strategy, depth on the lines, things of that nature, or we were spending 25 minutes talking about Rice Krispie treats and good and bad Halloween candy and what Halloween candies most resemble New Orleans Saints players.
Shaving our balls.
But that's our brand. Thanks for hanging out with us for an hour and 15. For those of you with a long commute, you're welcome. This podcast will get you all the way to work. So for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin, I'm Ralph Marlboro. Until next week, the bar is closed.
Shave the balls.